Hey guys, here I am again with another Jake's Metal Chat, episode 23. I know, right? Episode 23, and I'm just waiting on my guest. T-shirt this evening, Skeletal Remains. It's from the new album, The Entombment of Chaos. One of my favourite albums from last year, which will be on my list of albums. And yep. Almost checking things and just waiting for my guest. He's going to be in 5 minutes, and I'm going to be joining our Zoom chat after this. Well, because it was a mate of mine's birthday yesterday, and he's from Vermont, so let's cheers to him. It's a great Ruston brewery. A mate of mine works at Rob from Dead Solid Custom. It's what because when you're in a death metal band, you need a job, because when you learn from death metal bands, death metal doesn't pay. You gotta have a job on the side. I'm just gonna fill that up. Drinking Moose River, an American Pale Ale. It's actually really nice. And then I got more beer here, and then I got that to drink a bit later on. Don't want to show my beers now, but yeah, but I can show them whatever I want in my chat. And to update you on my podcast, my guests here, but let me tell you about my podcast. I got quite a few bands confirmed, still waiting on a few, but I might just record a few episodes. Excuse me, to get ready. And first one would be like, well, actually, I'm not going to tell you what the episodes are. You just have to see, and then I'll link them in the next chat. I got another chat on Monday, actually, and yeah, that's basically about it. Yeah, hang on a minute. Always filling out them stash in these videos. Oh, I'm going to get my guest in now.
Hello.
Hello, Steve.
How are you, mate?
I'm okay. How have you been?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad at all.
Just came on when you said not too bad.
Yeah, just had to finish off editing a Michael Schenker interview I had the other day.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, geez, man, that was like 45 minutes I had with him.
45.
He used up all 45 minutes. It's literally, you pop a coin in him and watch him go. It was magnificent.
Yeah, oh wow, 45 minutes. Or, well, for like radio type stuff, yeah, I guess that's a long time to be interviewing someone.
Well, given your interview was less than 5, mate, go from that.
Well, longest one I've had on here is Cam Lee from Massacre. That was 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Jesus.
He had a lot to talk about.
Fair dues. I think most of my interviews tend to pan out around the 10 to 15 minute mark, which is why I chuck in a couple each show. But yeah, it's one of those. Someone like Michael Schenker, like I said, when he talks, you listen.
Yeah, I did that with Cam. There were times where I did think, oh shit, I got something to say.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing.
But it's like he answered most of the questions I had planned anyway. So yeah. Like I said, it was just a case of pop a coin in him and let him go.
Yeah, I was just like, so how'd you get into that music? He was just like, well, it was a long story. It's like, well, I got ages.
I think my next volunteer is in at 9 o'clock, so I've got time.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Jake's Metal Chat, as I always say to people.
Thank you for having me.
You are guest number 23.
Woohoo!
Woo! Guest number 23, and for all the people watching, we will be clicking on this video because, well, you don't have to, but it would be nice if you did. This is a good mate of mine named Steve. He is the vocalist for Welsh melodic death metalers, Democratus or Democratus, however you want to say the
No,
band
you had
name.
it right first time. You had it right first time.
Yeah, Democratus, because I say Democratus, I always say Democratus. And he also has a radio show he does,
Welcome to my studio.
and that's his studio. And I appeared on his radio station, well, on his radio show, which was that was a while back now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, you were one of the first I had on the lockdown session. So,
Vitalize.
about 9-10 months ago.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, Vitalize rocking metal show. The
Not the
lockdowns.
guided tour. I'll give you the guided tour.
Well, we'll have the tour before we get on with the questions. Aha!
There we go.
Very, very good. Oh, I got a whiteboard as well.
Yeah, we got everything. There we go.
Acoustic foam as well.
Based in a church hall. We've got an office space above a church hall, so how I haven't been set on fire yet, given all my blasphemy music that I play, I'll never know.
You're playing blasphemous music and there's no fires erupting. You know. So I'll get on with this first one just to get out of the way. It's about COVID and how you've been coping through it all, the lockdown, the first lockdown, I mean.
I've managed to split it into two bits. On the band side of stuff, obviously everything's come to an absolute standstill.
Yep.
And it's, quite frankly, it's killing me. It's doing my head in. You know, I live for gigging.
Yep.
You know, I've been out of my life. That's my break times from being a carer. That's my social times. So not having that to hand, even though like I'm not able to make it to every gig that I'd love to, just not having that option at all really, really fucks around with your head. Like really bad.
Definitely. Because last gig I went to was Testament at the O2 with Death Angel and Exodus.
I think mine was something around the 5th of March, so just before the lockdown kicked in, and I pulled double duty. I gigged myself opening for Tragedy at the Globe in Cardiff.
Nice.
And then as soon as we finished playing, didn't stop for Tragedy, I shot straight over to Bristol Fleece for Grand Magus.
Oh yeah, Grand Major. Yeah. Great band.
I got there literally just in time for Grand Magus to start. So, you know, it was good timing because I love that band.
That's awesome because I did that for Turacess actually because I went to the O2 for a bit to see Children of Bone, and so this was like 2014 I think, or 2013. Yeah. Then I went from there, got to the Fleece, and as soon as I got there, found a good spot and he started playing.
Happy days. It's all good, man. I mean, yeah, as that would attest, gigging has taken a hit. It's playing a lot of mind games with a lot of people that, you know, it might not necessarily just be in the bands. They might be crew, they might be attendees. It's just been an absolute shitter all round. Whether you just, you know, wanting to your next festival, through to working your next pay packet. It's been horrible. On the flip side, I have kind of thrown myself because I'm able to. I've got the radio station that I've managed to get contacts for some of the big labels like Nuclear Blast and Metal Blade. Still trying to get all the Century Media. They're bastards to get hold of. But
Probably get a lot of calls.
I've thrown myself full force into getting in touch with the record labels, PRs and stuff. Oh, yeah. So not only am I getting all the newest music through from those labels, I'm also getting chance to interview bands for my own radio show. That has been an absolute godsend.
Oh, definitely.
Not only has it given me chance just to kind of expand the radio station's reach, you know, I'm bringing in people that, you know, fans will come and tune into our radio station to listen out for the interviews. Through to purely on a personal note, the chance to kind of speak to some of my influences and heroes. You know, I've been fortunate enough that, you know, one of the first big interviews I got off Nuclear Blast was Testament. I had Pete from Testament was one of my first biggies. That's then led on to, I've had interviews with Max Cavalera.
Nice.
David Anderson of Soilwork and the Night Flight Orchestra. Through to, just this week, I've had Michael Schenker, Simone from Epica, and Jarko from Korpiklani. That's just this week. You know,
Cheers for.
I haven't got the vodka on me, damn it. But it's been amazing to chat to them, and for the most part, I'm kind of throwing the general questions. I'm not throwing them anything kind of any major curveballs and stuff in terms of interviews, but you know, just having the chance to chat to them about how they how things went with recording, if they managed to get stuff done before or during lockdown has been interesting to get different stories from. And how they've kept busy through the lockdown. You know, obviously Max Cavalera's got his Max Tracks sessions. Flesh God Apocalypse have been keeping super busy, and I had an interview with Veronica of Flesh God a few months ago. You know, so watching other bands and how they've managed to cope through the pandemic as well has been an eye opener, not only for my own band but just for my own well-being as well. That's been probably a saving grace for me. Without that, I'd probably be in a much worse headspace than I am now.
Yeah, it's good that you got the station so you can talk to these people, be it a musician from a band or someone that does something similar to what you do, or someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book about the metal scene in the UK and they want to talk about it.
Well, I had that kind of book writing thing with. I spoke to the drummer from Psycho Stick.
Oh, Psycho Stick! I still need to see them actually.
Lovely bunch of guys they are, and the drummer was in the middle of releasing his first book. That he was talking about how he mixes up being a university student, like doing quite a complex degree, mixing it in with touring in a band as well, and how he'd split that over like the last 5 or 6 years. It's been interesting.
Beer is good. That's one of the beer. I love that. That's the first one I heard. But no,
I think mine was because boobs.
Oh, because boobs, yeah.
Because I think Mucker J of TBFM used to finish with that every show he did.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because first one beer was the first one I heard because one of my brother's mates from school, this was years back now, he said, oh, you heard a band called Psycho Stick? No, check this out. And he put on beer and it's like, I just like the bit where he goes, it goes good with cold pizza. Now that we have drunk some beer, now let's go drive a car. It's like, what?
They're ridiculous. Do you know what? I'll let you into a little secret. Because obviously Democratus opened for them in 2018 in Fuel. And awesome. Off stage, they genuinely don't like swearing. Except for the big C-bomb.
The big C-bomb, got it.
Aside from that, they don't swear very much.
Oh, so
they don't like it.
They don't say the F word or
not a lot at all.
Wow. Okay, that's something you learn about Psycho Sticks. Oh, I'm not going to listen to them anymore. They don't like swearing. I think they only do it on stage, and afterwards, like, nope. Nope, don't swear off stage.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
But they're super nice guys. Love them to bits. They're
I love to meet them. I watched one video of this music video of him. It was about Blockbuster Video, and they had the Angry Video Game Nerd in it.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love because I love the Angry Video Game Nerd. That's brilliant. Well, one of the other questions I ask everyone that's come on here so far: where did your music journey begin, and how did it get into metal?
You want to go from the very top?
Or wherever you want to start. Well, how long you got?
In terms of, I'll give you the abridged version.
Yeah.
basically, as a vocalist, singing has been the one thing I've had drummed into me that I can do. From about the age of 6, I was picked to do like school play nativities. I was picked to do the solos in them. So, even though I've never had any kind of like official lessons, I've not learned anything officially. I've always had it drummed into me that I can hold a note. To my teenage years, I stopped singing when my voice started breaking. And then picked it up again when I started going out to the pubs and clubs when I was 16-ish. It started, I started singing on karaoke, and people enjoyed what I sang. So at that point, around like 16, 17, I hadn't even started properly getting into like rock and metal at that point. I was still a bit of a dance nerd. I love my 90s dance music.
Nothing with that.
No, I hope not.
I hope not. Well, none of it's questionable.
It all started sounding the same around about 2000, 2001. And it's not changed since either. So that's where I then led in.
That's where my phase was 2000, 2001, 2002.
That's when I started getting into like light rock music, and gradually went downhill from there. Like discovering Linkin Park, then Kill Switch and Slipknot Volume 3, and then it all went downhill from there.
It just goes downhill once you get in the metal. It's like, I got in the metal, it's gone downhill now.
So I didn't actually get into rock and metal properly till I was around 19, 20. But at that point then I decided, right, if people are telling me I can still hold a note while I'm belting out karaoke numbers like Mustang Sally from The Commitments and that. But I was getting into the heavier side of stuff, so I decided I wanted to be in a band. And if I wanted to be in a band, I had to have long hair, because at that point, my head was 0.5 shaved all over. Yeah. So 19, I started growing my hair, and I've literally trimmed it twice since. But I basically decided then I wanted to be in a band. So I started looking around on like the early renditions of Join My Band, and I was fortunate that just down the road from where I lived at my parents' house in Pontypool, there was a rehearsal rooms. So I'd gone down there a couple of times, and there were a couple of posters up for people looking for bands. So I kind of took a couple of them off and started ringing around. I eventually got the audition with a band that were kind of some kind of thrashy, power metal-y type stuff, called Viper Strike. Now, at that point, I could just about sing. I certainly couldn't do any of the aggressive vocals without blowing out my voice. So Viper Strike were the first band I ever gigged with. We had 3 gigs in the space of 18 months. We went through about 4 drummers, and were utter shite. We recorded we were crap. I'm still friends with the guitarist and bassist, and they will freely admit we were pants.
This band always is.
My first attempts at like writing lyrics, thankfully my bassist Tyrone was a little better and a little more established at writing than I was. So he gave me some lyrics and stuff to go on with. I remember my first audition, and this was how kind of still getting into rock and metal I was. I auditioned with Black Sabbath Paranoid.
Nice.
And Iron Maiden, when they were with Blaze Bayley, I auditioned with their song Virus. Now, obviously, I didn't even know Bruce Dickinson had left and rejoined Iron Maiden at that point. So I had no idea that there were other singers of Iron Maiden. So I'm quickly having to sift through what very little of the internet was around in 2005 to try and find this song Virus and have a listen to it. Thankfully, I got the job, but yeah, like I said, we did 3 gigs in the space of 18 months. We were supposed to have done a 4th, But literally, I had turned up to the Mersey Lounge in Newport that night, only to get a text off my bassist and guitarist saying, "No, they're not coming."
Oh, for fuck's sake.
On the night of our fourth gig, I'm there, ready and waiting for them to turn up, and then having to tell the promoter, "I'm the only one here." So yeah, that basically then became the end of that. It was literally like being dumped via text when Tyrone, the bassist, who, like I said, was kind of heading it all up because I didn't have a clue what the fuck to do. Tyrone literally just texted us saying, if you hadn't already guessed, Viper Strike's pretty much done. So I started looking for another band and came across a group that were rehearsing in Cwmbran. They were going by the name Fatal Taunt, and I went down to audition. The bassist wasn't there that night. She was ill. But I auditioned again with Black Sabbath's Paranoid.
Yep.
And a couple of other not so heavy ones. I think Green Day was one of the American Idiot songs was one of them. I think it was Holiday.
Oh, yeah, Holiday.
And one or two others because they were on the verge of becoming a covers band.
Oh, wow.
Which I basically being 3 gigs more experienced than them. Because they hadn't gigged at all. This apparently put me in some kind of like natural leadership role, and I just turned around and said, well, look, if you want me to join, then we're going to start writing our own stuff, and I want to hear some riffage. At that point, I literally demanded on my first audition that they at least play me some riffage that they've been working on. So I wondered whether I'd want to join them or not, and they did. And yeah, basically the bassist wasn't there, but the boys wanted her to have a listen, so they rung her up, and we played Paranoid while she was on the phone. Apparently the words were, "Buy that man as many beers as he wants until he joins our band." I didn't hold out for even one, god damn it. But so yeah, Fatal Taunt, I joined, and basically then, like I said, being microscopically more experienced than them, having one contact that I could get a gig with through Mikey Brown, who used to do the Tuesday nights at Mersey. Got in touch with him and said, can you get a gig? This was like this was around early March 2006. And he basically said, yeah, I've got a really good lineup coming up on the 6th of the 6th, 06. Yeah, exactly. So we're like, that can be your first date. We'll take it. If there was ever a sign. Now, bearing in mind, this was early March. I'd even just had my first audition. That gave us about 7 weeks, 8 weeks to start on a set list, to start creating music and get it up to a point where we might be gig worthy. It was a risk, but we actually pulled it off. We got up to the magic 5-song mark. And we did our first gig on the 6th of the 606. I remember the lineup as well, because this is probably my first proper gig that I remember. Actually, going back to the Viper Strike stuff, I forgot to mention, the very first gig I did, we played next door to the Mersey Lounge, a place called OTT, which is now no longer a venue. On before us were a band called Winterheart that I remember did a really, really, really poor cover of The Final Countdown. They were super serious with it all as well.
Oh, no, you can't be super serious with that song.
Yeah. What I found out years later, because I had posted up on Facebook saying this was my first ever gig, in that lineup was a certain young Mr. Johnny Foxall of Incursion.
Bloody hell.
It shows you what a small world it is, isn't it?
All right, Incursion's a band we can give a shout out to on here as well. I love those guys.
But yeah, going back to 6 of the 606, the lineup was ourselves opening, 10 Cent Toy,
Oh yeah, I know.
who then went on to win Metal to the Masses in South Wales in 2013. Necrocest were headlining, Bowel Nuke, and Demon Orgy. So that was our first gig. We were like melodic rock and metal mixed with bands like 10 Cent Toy and Necrocest. So you can imagine we stuck out like a sore fucking thumb.
Very much.
Yeah. But we did our first gig and we were thinking 6 of the 606, people are going to be out for that, surely. Not realising that it was also the day that the new remake of The Omen
Yeah,
was
I was
released.
just about to say that as well. The remake of The Omen came out that year. I remember it just being
It came out
advertised on
that day and
TV.
every fucker went to go see that. So we
didn't-
played at barely anyone.
I didn't go and see it actually.
I didn't either, but
I was still at school at the time that year.
so yeah, our first gig was quiet, but you know we did what we did. We started then working on new stuff, on more stuff. Funny enough, the second gig we did was the 7th of the 7th, and the third gig we did was the 9th of the 9th. That's
So
random coincidences.
666 777 999.
It was it? Oh no. So we're not talking like 3 year, a year gap between each. It was just the 6 of the 606.
Yep.
The 7th of the 7th, 06.
Oh, okay.
And then the 9th of the 9th, 06.
Oh, okay. So it's all.
So almost the reverse of 606.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, either way, we started gigging as much as we could. And wherever we could. We weren't, we were rough, we were completely inexperienced, but we were doing what we could to pester where we could, which has basically become how I do things in general. You know, I politely pester for as much as we can. Fatal Taunt lasted around 2 and a bit years. We eventually called it quits in, I think, October of 08. Because we had lost our drummer and bassist in quick succession. Our drummer was funny because we had actually we had been confirmed to open for. Do you remember the British metal band Malefice?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I can remember.
Kind of groove metal, really, really good band.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, oh no, yeah, I remember.
Well, that was one of the first tastes we had of a bigger show because they were signed, they were on the verge of releasing their second album, and they played some massive tours and stuff. So we were main support to them, and the night before I got the nightmare call that I'd been expecting from day one. My drummer at the time, Kyle Howells his name is, he's a skater. He's a very good one. He's actually on Lee Dainton of Dirty Sanchez. He's on his skating team.
Oh, nice.
So he's a bloody good skateboarder. But the nightmare always was that he'd ring us up on the day before a big gig saying, I can't play, I've bust my leg skating. He rang me up the day before this Malefice gig saying, I can't play, I've bust my leg, I've fallen off a pool table.
Fucking pool table.
So basically, I'm panicking, thinking, right, this is the day before Malefice. We can't pull out. We can't let, this was our first big gig at TJ's. We played TJ's on a couple of unsigned shows beforehand, but this was a big one for us. So I'm like, right, can you give me an hour or so? And I rang my little brother, who I knew happened to drum, because he was like a miniature version of me on the music side of things. And I rang him up. He'd never played with us. He'd never rehearsed us. He'd just obviously seen us gig and stuff. And I literally asked him, how many songs of ours do you reckon you could play? He's like, what? As in now? I was like, tomorrow. Maybe 6. I said, that'll do. Come to TJ's tomorrow. So with no rehearsal, nothing, I pulled in my brother to drum for us so we could still play that show. We got away with it. Fuck knows how. But yeah, the problem was our drummer then decided that he didn't like the fact I did that, and decided to step down. I'm like, fine, you throw your toys out. I cleared it with you before I said okay, but now you're deciding you didn't like it. Fine. Our bassist then stepped down about a month later, and we just thought, right, this isn't the same. So me and our 2 guitarists decided, right, we still wanted to work together. So we'll crack on with a different lineup, change the name, but we'll keep the best of the stuff that we've got.
Yep.
So we can kind of just crack on with them and get to work gigging again. So we then changed our name to Counthold. After some random conversations on what we were going to call ourselves, our guitarist texted me the one day, just said, "What about Counthold?" I just thought, can't think of anything better, to be honest. So it stuck. We found out afterwards it's a Volvo tool.
Oh, right.
So if you search Counterhold, it will come up with the odd bit of band stuff over our history, and then it will also come up with a ton of Volvo forum sites and stuff. It's weird.
So band and Volvo. There we go.
So yeah, Counterhold came to be, a couple more lineup changes, but the main crux we decided was myself, Dave, and Carl, until we found Ben, who came in on bass, and then eventually by start of 2011, we got our drummer Ryan, who when he came to audition for us, I wondered if he was in the right place, because he looked like your average indie kid.
Right.
Like short hair, I'm pretty sure a woolly jumper was around.
Yep.
And just looking like a lanky indie kid. So I'm like, "Are you sure you're in the right place?" He's like, "Well, you're Counterhold, yeah?" Yeah. All right, we'll give you a go. Basically, by the end of his first hour, because he hadn't played for around 3-4 years before he came to audition for us, and by the end of the first hour, you could tell he got into it. But he was fascinating to watch, because if you see old videos of Counterhold and that, he's just so cack-handed. He's all arms, like everywhere. He was phenomenal to watch, and still is. He still plays in a band now called Blackjack Zero.
Right.
So yeah, Ryan was the final piece in that jigsaw. In 2011, it kind of cemented it that this was meant to be, when 3 months later we then managed to earn ourselves a slot opening for Sepultura at Pontypridd Muni. And that was also a big middle finger to my old bassist, who accused me of having delusions of grandeur trying to go for the same Sepultura show a year before.
Right.
He was like, "Oh, I don't know why you're bothering going for these bigger shows. It's like, you've got delusions of grandeur, nothing's going to happen from it." I've always been the case of, if you don't ask, you don't get. I don't mind being told no.
That's, yeah.
Not at all. Just, let me know. But if there's a chance of local support,
Take it.
Consider us. That's all I ask. So yeah, to get that show a year later was a big to sad act bassist who will remain nameless.
We remain nameless, so.
So yeah, by the end of 2011, we'd also opened for Darkest Hour.
Oh, yeah, I know.
On a headline date that they had 2 days before they went out on that tour with Machine Head and Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I didn't go to the tour. Actually. I didn't go.
Well, the closest it came was Birmingham, so it was going to be nowhere near me, because I would have
just saw Machine Head and left.
I would have been the same. Wouldn't have given a crap. But so yeah, by the end of 2011, we were proper in a full flow and had started working on new stuff. We then got our album together over the course of 2013, recorded with Glyn Williams, who at that time was the lead guitar. He was my former guitarist because at the same time Counterhold formed. I forgot, as I'm giving you the full story.
Might as well.
At the same time, Counterhold formed, literally 2 days after Fatal Taunt announced they were calling it a day. My friend Glyn vultured in on me. Didn't even give me time to mourn, god damn it. Basically asking if I'd come join his power metal band, Fury of the Waters.
Right.
So I basically had the two bands running at the same time, from like 2008 through 2010. Fury of the Waters, we did all right actually, and with a bit of hindsight, it may have been a bit of a mistake dropping Fury of the Waters because I couldn't keep both bands running. It was taking up too much of my time. But knowing that we'd had support slots on a Motorhead after show party
Cool.
with Fury UK that are now Absolver. We'd also earned ourselves a slot opening up Hammerfest 2 up in North Wales in 2010. We've done a couple of other bits and bobs. So we played in the after show. We played supporting the Misfits in TJ's as well.
Nice.
As well as Panic Cell. I don't know if you remember them. I love Panic Cell. They were a great British band.
I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned them around me when talking about bands.
Melodic metal stuff, well worth checking out. They were, yeah, Fury of the Waters, I then had running, and Glyn, my guitarist, who then went on to be the lead guitarist in Triaxis.
I know.
And is now guitarist in Power Quest.
Okay.
He produced, mixed and mastered our album. It was all done at his house.
Oh, nice.
He did a stellar job of it. So we got the album out in 2013, called All of Them Slain, which I still have copies of because we've ordered way too many of them. And then we got the album out at the end of 2013. 2014, I was all planning to kind of get us gigging hard so we could plug the album. And then it just all fell apart. The boys didn't want to gig. They kind of didn't want to travel around for petrol money and stuff, which is fine because they were all a bit older than me anyway. So I understood. But it wasn't my way. I need to be gigging. I need to be busy. Yeah. So I made the decision then that Counterhold. Well, I'd leave Counterhold if the boys wanted to then fold the band after. That was up to them. Kind of one of those that I thought they might anyway.
Mm.
And they did. So Counterhold called it quits in 2014, and then. As soon as Counterhold called it quits, I knew I wanted another band. So I started quietly looking around for potential bands to either join or form, knowing that I wanted to go heavier than Counterhold. Counterhold were always like this weird proto-thrash melodic metal mashup that worked against us because, you know, promoters like to have their pigeonholes, and they like to kind of have shows that have similar sounding lineups and stuff. And Counterhold always stuck out. You know, we were either the heaviest band on a lighter bill, or we were the lightest band on a heavy bill.
Right.
So what I did want to do when looking for a new band was go heavier. Melodic. I discovered tons of melodic death metal a few years before, and that's where that's where my major love of metal is. Most of the bands that I love listening to are melodic death metal, be that Soilwork, In Flames, Insomnium, Be'lakor, Monomath, Arch Enemy. Those are all among my favourite bands, and they're all melodic death metal. Yep. So I thought, right, that's where I want to go. I'm going to try and see if I can do the more aggressive growls and screams on a more consistent basis.
Yeah.
And I'll see what happens from there. If the screaming and growling was going to throw my voice out, I'll scale it back and I'll go a bit more melodic again. But over that Bloodstock in 2014, Spoon came up to me and said, "Oh, you're wanting to start a new band? I'm playing bass now. So if you want to jam, let me know." That's my best impression of Spoon I think I've ever done.
That's really good.
Oh.
Oh. Will you join my band?
So yeah, he was playing bass, which I knew him in his previous band as a drummer. And then the vocalist of the same band that I knew Spoon from, that was with Spoon, said, "Oh, I'm doing drums now." I was like, "But you're a vocalist." All right, we'll give it a go. As it turned out, Steve on drums didn't work out for us. Very quickly, we realised. He admitted himself he was very, 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 very rusty. And we're struggling to keep time and just we're struggling to get into the groove of it. So he stepped down after a few rehearsals, but he's been one of our solid supporters since anyway.
Yeah.
But I then came across two guitarists that were already working together on more 80s inspired metal stuff. But I jammed with them. I explained to them what I wanted to do melodic wise, music wise. I thought I could get away with this on the basis that melodic death metal, if you're going down the likes of In Flames or Arch Enemy type stuff, it's all quite classic metal sounding anyway. It's the vocals that give it that death metal edge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I thought that was my reasoning behind getting in the two original guitarists I had, Ben and Alex. So we started gigging because, like I said, I'm quite relentless in kind of setting these boundaries, setting these goals to get gigging. So we started rehearsing around September, October. By February 2015, I had us gigging at our first date with Gavin at the Duke in Neath. And yeah, basically a couple of different lineup changes, mostly involving the guitarists and a couple of different drummers. But me and Spoon were the crux of the writing anyway, me with the lyrics and like vocal melodies. Spoon with most of the material at that point was pretty much his. So there was a point where we lost two guitarists in one day. That was fun. On the day of a gig again as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Not again. Why on the day of the gig?
It was embarrassing because you know me. I pride myself on being a reliable person. You know, Democratus had, I've built up a reputation between any of the bands that I'm with. I hope I've built up a reputation that we are reliable.
T-shirt.
Oh, I love you.
This is a great T-shirt. If you want to find it, we'll discuss that later on.
Yes. So yeah, I lost both guitarists in one day. They threw their toys out the pram. Again, they will remain nameless. So I had to go. Me and Spoon decided, right, we were going to continue as we were. We kept our drummer on board as well, so we were just going to have to look for two new guitarists. We found them swiftly. One approached me and I approached the other. So I approached Karen, and Joey messaged me saying, "I haven't played for a few years. We've got a thing of picking up rusty people." So Joe said, "I haven't played for about 3 years, but I really like the demos that you've done." Excuse me.
Sorry.
I like the demos that you've done, so if you'd like to give me a go, I'm like, all right, well, we need to at least kind of get started on auditions. So
Yeah.
we'll bring him in and see how it goes. Kevin ran his own studio in Albany Road in Cardiff. So, and he's a great guitarist. So, it was agreed that kind of between me and Spoon that Kevin certainly was good enough and wanted to work with us. Kevin agreed that he would take the time to get Joey up to scratch, um, and get him kind of up to a gigging standard. So that was the plan. We did it. We then got the first EP out that you just showed off there.
Yep.
Starting again.
Starting again. This one again.
Yep.
I have to turn that off so people could probably see it a little bit better. If not,
Yeah, it's not the best designed cover in terms of what you can see.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's a great EP. I do have to say. And very great music. And of course, Steve is the vocalist. And if I can get it out, here's the nice little CD,
Hooray!
which you can actually see a bit better because it's white.
Yeah, that EP basically marked the line in the sand over. That was the older material that we had done with previous lineups before Joey, Karen, and then our current drummer Zach joined us because we let our drummer Lloyd go because it wasn't working out. He was a bit unreliable and standards just weren't up there. We were picking up on things that love the boy to bits. He's a nice guy, but they were just bits that we were picking up on that we weren't quite comfortable having in the band. So we let him go, and thankfully Joey was like, I know a guy. So we got Zach in, and he's an absolute diamond. He's a super organized. He brought a click track with him, which was just mind blowing to previous drummers that we'd had. Because just having that organization of just having a click track ready to play to to keep up with the speed of the songs was just great. He's lush. I love Zach to bits. So we got to work on getting the first EP out. This would take us up to 2017. We entered the Metal to the Masses in 2017. Managed to get our way to the final and played the absolute set of our lives. We couldn't have done any more in that final. But Simon Hall, who was doing the judging, decided to put Malum Sky through. Great band. I've got no issues. They were really, really, really good at what they do. They were proggy. They were kind of like Tool, but with a better vocalist. Their singer Ben is a phenomenal vocalist. So yeah, he put Malum Sky through, which I'll admit stung. I moped around for a bit. But we got the EP then finished off and just thought, right, we'll try again next year so we can cover all bases. We'll send off our EP to Simon so we can have the direct option, but we'll do Metal to the Masses again next year and see where it gets us. And as it goes, I don't do well under Battle of the Band situations. I just don't. I stress out over the process. Most of them are popularity contests. Metal to the Masses is the one exception. I will always say this, and I love Metal to the Masses for this reason, because it's never just about being the band battle itself. Metal to the Masses is all about, for me, the network.
Yeah.
So whether you get through or not, there's the chance to network with either other home bands. Some of the regions have guest headliners through the course of their shows. So it was always about making sure that you could get into the network and keep an eye on other bands. You know, like get in touch with other bands to try and get shows further away from home. So Metal to the Masses was always that. Plus, then I've got this affinity with Bloodstock anyway that I absolutely love the festival as a regular punter. Every year, you know, I'm there. So that takes us to 2018. we entered Metal to the Masses again. I fully expected all our favours to have been pulled in the previous year.
Yeah.
As it happened, people were still willing to give us a shout. So they turned up, they got us through to the final. And we always went in with the case because we had new music. Only one of the songs from the first EP stayed in our set list for the following year. So we made sure that we had done everything we possibly could to make sure that we had improved on ourselves. So we gave ourselves no excuse to not say we're better than we were the year before. And we were fortunate enough then that we did get through. We won it. And we played Bloodstock. I'd set up it's for Bloodstock, like I said, it's all about making yourself stand out because you're playing over the weekend with about 60 other bands on that stage, which still is a final. That's still part of the competition there. There's still an overall winner that then gets asked back to open the Thursday the following year, and then gets options to play like festivals in Europe and stuff with some of the connections that they've got. So it was a case of always taking that seriously. We hadn't made it or anything. I said to the boys the moment we won it, we're not a bigger band. We're still the same shitty local Cardiff-based bunch of Muppets.
Muppets.
But what it will do is it'll open a few doors to a few extra opportunities. It's down to us to make sure that we are quick enough and nice enough and good enough to take and make the most of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So we did. And that kind of takes us up to current day. We've had slots with Light the Torch, Howard Jones's current band, which for me was an absolute, that was a bucket lister. My love of Howard Jones and Killswitch was my gateway. The End of Heartache in particular was my gateway into metal.
Yeah, definitely, because I think...
to be opening a stage for my idol, Howard Jones, and I don't like the Torch, a phenomenal band anyway. I love the current album. So to open for that band was just absolutely gobsmackingly, mind-blowingly awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we've had to open for the likes of Suffocation.
Nice.
Through the Vader. We've been. It's like I said, it's all that case of from accusations of delusions of grandeur back in 2009 from an old bassist.
Yeah.
Every big show is a big fucking middle finger to people like that kind of.
You just doubt you at every corner.
Exactly. I don't think we deserve what we get above other bands.
No.
And if other bands get those slots, good on them. Like when.
Yeah, good on them. Yeah.
Let's take Embodiment opening for
Suffocation, for crying out loud. They did play with Suffocation and also with Car Bomb and
that's it.
Various other bands as well.
Or Mortishead opening for Flesh God Apocalypse back in 2015.
Yeah, that I was happy for them, definitely.
Or Embodiment and Mortishead again opening for Alien Weaponry.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
You can either look at those shows and think, bastards, they're getting everything handed to them, or you can think, good on them.
Well, good on them.
What can I do to make myself stand out for the next big show?
Just work hard at it.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is the one thing I've noticed that certainly getting Democratus going coincided with the scene kind of getting its act together, certainly around South Wales and Bristol.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd include further down south to like Bridgewater and that as well. They've got a great bunch of bands down there.
Yeah, definitely.
It coincides with a scene that got its act together and started supporting each other a bit more. Prior to that, certainly between like 2008 to 2013, there was a lot of bitching a lot of animosity from other bands and stuff like that. A lot of looking over your shoulder and looking at what others are doing. I was never part of that. I couldn't get into it because I was always concentrating on what we were doing rather than anyone else was.
Yeah, I think I'd noticed that at some gigs, other bands just like bitching and moaning about other bands, like, oh, they got to support this band, we want to support that band, blah blah blah. I didn't listen to it because it was all just bitching and moaning at the end of the day.
The thing is, every single one of those bands that I knew were doing the bitching, and I don't get me wrong, it's not like I didn't know who and what was happening and what was being said.
We're not naming the bands, by the way. So.
No, because none of them are going anywhere.
No, because they're just going to bitch and moan at the fact they're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, but my point is, none of them are bands anymore anyway. They've all fallen by the wayside because they had the wrong attitude.
Yeah, so...
You know, I literally, my mantra for band stuff is expect nothing, aim for everything.
And if anyone's watching and you're in a band, take that advice. Actually take it. Don't just think, yeah, sure, I'll take that from two long-haired men. Well, it was only the one who said it, but yeah, me, I'm in bands as well. Like you were talking about your first lot of bands. Well, my first band, we didn't really do any big gigs. We just played at this youth centre where we used to rehearse and did gigs there.
Yeah.
And it was like a rock, like more like metal and punk mixed together, but the more like pop punky sort of stuff.
Do you know what? We can't hold in particular. Like I said, we played with pop punk bands, we played with death metal bands. We were one of those bands that didn't care who we played with as long as we were gigging. Yeah. And you know, if in a crowd of 40 to 50 people, only one of them liked us, I'll take that one.
That's fine.
You know, I've been accused of like humble bragging, whatever the hell that is. I'm just like, I'm proud of what I've achieved, and it has been myself that's achieved it. I'm the one that's kind of ended up being band manager. So, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without the boys in my band creating the music they have, and I certainly wouldn't have done it if other people hadn't given us the opportunities to go ahead and kind of play where we've played. Yeah. I try and be humble. But at the same time, I can also be proud of what we've done. I see no issue with that. I see no problem.
No problem. No. No, well, because you worked hard. You played all these gigs. I mean, I think it was with Democratus anyway. I could be wrong. You played the Croft in this small bloody room. And it was, I think it was with Evil Scarecrow. I think
that would have been Counterhold.
Yeah, it was Counterhold. Oh, I've seen Counterhold then. Yeah. Yeah,
Counterhold opened that one at the Croft. That was the first time we played with Evil Scarecrow. We did it again later that year.
In the small room.
In Bogies in Cardiff.
Oh, I saw Niall there.
I was at that show as well.
Yeah, Niall and XDO and
everything
else was there.
And then we played with them once more in Newport the following year. I love my Evil Scarecrow guys.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know Evil Scarecrow, but I'll be surprised if no one who watches this would. I mean, you don't know who Evil Scarecrow is, you're missing out because they're just so much fun live. And during their set 2019 at Bloodstock, which is one of the best festivals in my opinion, hands down, and I was there at the front with three of my mates, but me and my mate Alex were wearing crab hats, and it's actually signed by the band because they did play the Fleece. I'll go get it, actually. Because whoever's the Evil Scarecrow fan and watching this interview, you've got to see. Well,
Nice. For some reason, whenever Evil Scarecrow play Bloodstock, I'm usually front and slightly off centre. But I am nearly always in any promotional video that they do when it comes to Bloodstock stuff.
Yeah, there's a photo of me at the front. I'm just going like this. with that hat on and a Hawaiian shirt and my battle jacket.
But I love those guys. Got all the time in the world for them.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic live. They're a load of fun. They don't take themselves seriously, which as a band you shouldn't do that anyway.
Actually, I disagree with that. They take what they do very seriously.
Well, yeah, they take what they do seriously, but when on stage they're having fun. That sort of way of don't take yourself too seriously. Have a bit of fun.
I've always described them as they're like the bottom. They're like the bottom of metal bands. So they're like that comedy series bottom where everything looks like it could go wrong.
Yeah, if something goes wrong, then they will probably be like, "Oh shit."
And I've seen enough of their shows to know that they do get things go wrong.
Oh yeah.
One of those that it's that kind of comedy that hinges on being an absolute chaotic farce through to just being sublimely funny comedy. They're very, very good at what they do.
Yeah, they're very
good. They do take what they do seriously. It's just
that's what I meant. Don't take what they're doing on stage too seriously. They're having fun, but with their music, obviously they're going to take it seriously because they're writing this music, they're recording it, they're putting it out, and if they hear something in their music, then they just put it on the CD.
But they do what they do incredibly
it,
well. They do what they do incredibly well.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. They do have to take what they do seriously in order to please. Well, I don't want to say please the fans. You can't please everybody, but
it's a case of they have the same kind of thing that we do. It's we write for ourselves. We write what makes us enjoy the music. Yeah. And they write what makes them laugh. If it makes other people laugh, and same with us, if other people enjoy what we do, it's a bonus. But we are writing for ourselves more than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I do because I'm trying to write stuff for my bands. Is for me, and if people like it at the end of the day, great. Got some fans out of it, and that's what I like about Evil Scarecrow. Since I first saw him, I think it was actually at the Cross, that small little room. I was just like, who the fuck are these guys? They're absolutely amazing. And I kept seeing them every time. And I saw them at the Beer Keller and the bassist. And I'm trying to remember the bassist's name.
Jack.
That's it.
Jack.
Off the stage.
He's my birthday twin. We have the same birthday.
Oh, sweet. And I love, because at that show, he got off the stage at the Beer Keller and a bunch of us just followed him around it doing the walking mosh pit.
Doing the conga, yeah.
It's like, walking mosh pit. If you don't know Evil Scarecrow, people, check them out. They're freaking hilarious. They're a great band, and obviously, they take themselves seriously because they bring out great music, but on stage, not at all. They're taking a piss out of one another.
Like I said, it's a metal version of Bottom.
Pretty much. Metal version of Bottom. Think of it that way. And if you love Bottom, you're going to love these guys. You love the comedy styles of Rick Mel and Aid Edmondson. Rest in peace to Rick Mel. You're going to love this. And if you love your melodic death metal, melodic sounding metal, Democratus, and there's a bunch of other bands I can name, Insomnium for one. And I was just like, I'm just going to let this guy speak. He's got a lot to say. I'll let him just speak.
Do you know what? I've kept it relatively free of politics, which, considering our Democratus is mostly lyrical content.
Yeah.
But do you know what? It's a case now of I'm at that point now where politics has just disillusioned me so much. I can't be asked to write about it, to like rant about it to people now. I will leave it in my lyrics and I'll post the occasional Facebook rant.
Oh, yes, you do.
I'm tired by it all. I've stood for elections. I've tried to be that kind of, when people say, "Oh, if you're that political, why don't you?" So I've stood in elections. I've stood for the Welsh Assembly. I've stood for council elections.
Yeah.
We're so divided as a nation right now. I mean, look at Brexit. Look at current political situations with the changeover of Trump to Biden and Boris in charge over a year. It's pathetic. There isn't a decent politician people don't recognise a decent politician if it came up and slapped him in the face. They had the chance with Jeremy Corbyn. They had the chance with Jeremy Corbyn. He was a decent person, a decent politician.
I've actually seen him in person.
I'm jealous.
I didn't talk to him though. I didn't talk to him. I saw him in person. He was at the Trinity Centre here in Bristol.
I don't do the whole cult following of Corbyn. The man.
I don't follow politics at all. I just leave it alone.
The man is as fallible as anyone else.
I'll say something stupid. If I got into politics, I'll just say something stupid. So
he was an honest man. The direction he tried to take the Labour Party would have taken them no further left than Sweden, Germany, Denmark, New Zealand, which, funnily enough, were all regarded as the best places to live. People have lost this ability to find middle ground, especially with the internet. It's been a pain in the ass to try and reason with people, because if you show any ounce of a socialist inclination, you're immediately labelled a communist Marxist, and most people don't even know what they are.
No, and leaving politics aside, because that's not what we want in the metal scene.
That's a messy road we could go down.
It's a messy road, and it's all right to chat about to an extent. But with metal music, you just forget all that shit. But then you get bands who add that sort of thing into their music, then you can't seem to get away from it very much.
The fathers of metal themselves were political. Like Black Sabbath, who started it all, were political.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what baffles me, is those kind of people. When Black Sabbath recently came out in support of the Black Lives Matters movement, they kind of did their own T-shirts under the Black Lives Matter movements using their logo font.
Nice.
And the number of people that turned around and said, "Oh, I'm never going to buy another one of your records again. Have you never listened to War Pigs, you idiots?"
Yeah, War Pigs, listen to that. If you're that stupid, listen. Well, not stupid, let me rephrase that. If you don't listen to War Pigs, you just think, oh yeah, it's a great song. Well, it's talking about the Vietnam War. It's talking about everything that was going on at the time in the late 60s, early 70s. Everything. And again, it is a brilliant song, but it's got a lot of things that were happening around that time.
It's always been about raging against the man, raging against the system.
Exactly.
It's derived from blues, which was a rage against the system, a rage against black oppression. That's where the blues was developed from.
Yeah.
If people don't understand that, they are brain dead. And this is what kind of, the politics has always been involved in.
It's always been involved in metal, and there's also, you get some, and I discount all these other people who say they're metalheads, but they're not. They're just racist dickheads. Who have metal bands, they're not metalheads at all. You're nothing. You're just hate mongers. And
just because you like a heavy riff doesn't mean you're one of us.
No. If you're going to sing about hate and all this, no, you're not a metalhead. Get out. That is my opinion, and I stand by that.
Absolutely. I know I've got to, even within Democratus, even though my lyrics are overtly from a left-wing approach, the whole band have a spectrum of political opinions.
Yeah.
We don't all agree on everything when we do discuss politics and stuff. It's, we're all different people, but I've thankfully managed to find a group of people that can take a bit of, ribbing and questioning and stuff like that, and B, are just genuinely lovely people to be around anyway.
Oh yeah, I've met.
Except for Joey. Joey's a twat.
Joey's a twat. Sorry, Joey.
I'm not sorry. He's a twat.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Actually, no. I take it back. Joey's okay. He's rich. He's evil. He comes across as this kind of center-based kind of mixture between the two.
You're evil, mate.
Bastard.
You're evil, mate.
He can cut you down with one comment. He's evil.
Yeah, I think I've witnessed that.
Even today on my band chat today, he was winding me up because Joey likes to badly play "Sweet Child of Mine," the opening riff. If you've heard us in a sound check, Joey likes to wind me up playing badly Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh man, no. If you're going to play it, you've got to play it well.
Today I have had the conversation. Joey, Sweet Child of Mine is on Planet Rock at the moment. As everyone else can't hear it, I think you need to record your rendition and send it over. It's like, no, why would you do that? You know I hate it. Why do you hate me? And Richard, so I put that. Why do you hate me? Richard's gone, hate is a strong word. I merely bathe in your suffering. Nah, balls to him. He's a wanker. He's just my wanker, and I love him.
Yeah. So if anyone was thinking, wow, he hates his own band members, no, he just said he's a wanker and he loves him. If you didn't have the love him part, then okay, you somehow are like kind of like drifting out, like what's going on? And yeah, Steve is very.
I'm good at babbling.
Yeah, and Steve is very political because he has appeared on some of those sit-down ones where they got the audience and they ask audience questions.
Question time. And,
yeah, I've seen you and your lovely wife on there.
That was the. I can't think what it was called now.
But won't go into it. But I'm just saying,
basically that was a random thing anyway. I was invited to the first edition of that show because it was a Wales-based thing.
Yeah, because they got Wales here in England.
And I was sold upon it on the basis of it being like Question Time, but based solely around one subject for the hour. I think it was called The Hour.
I have no idea.
But basically, they then invited me back on the last show to cover mental health.
Yeah, and that does affect a lot of people. And
it does my wife. That's why I'm a carer to my wife. Is for her mental health issues. But the moment Amy overheard that it was covering mental health, she's like, "Can I come?" And Amy doesn't say boo to a goose at the best of times.
No.
She struggles with social interactions as a general rule. But the moment she heard that it was about mental health, she wanted to come. And I explained this to the producer that had rung me and said, I'll come if my wife can come. My wife is a mental health sufferer and has been through the system. They were like, yeah, bring her on. And for the most part, I thought I was going to be like it was in the first one. I didn't get a chance to speak. I was just in the audience, nodding along or shaking my head at other
one
things.
you were speaking.
It's the one where my Amy piped up.
Yeah, I commented on that video saying she's a lovely person because I have met her like on some occasions. She is a lovely person. His wife.
When she piped up with that, because she'd had her hand up for a little while.
Oh yeah, people with their hands up all the time.
With people, people giving their different opinions on physical health and stuff like that. And I could see Amy getting more and more agitated at the whole thing that mental health was being missed out on. So it was talking about like obesity and things like that. And I could see Amy getting more and more agitated, thinking, I know that what they're missing out, and I know what she wants to say. What I didn't expect was the level of eloquence she came out with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It took even me by surprise. As soon as she finished saying what she said, though, she nearly ripped my arm out of my socket. Yeah, she grabbed it so tight because I'm just like, as she realised that she'd just spoken on TV in front of like a million people in the TV
world. A million people watching, but like I don't know how many people were in the room at the time, but obviously the people you're talking to and the audience.
She nearly popped my arm out of its socket, squeezing me so hard when the nerves set in. It was just, but I was so proud of her.
I'm going to lose my arm. Yeah, I watched it. I was like, wow, that takes a lot of guts to do that. And there are people that say, I'm going to do that, but they never end up doing it.
And I've always been a case. And I've done this with the band stuff as well. I try and put my money where my mouth is. I don't. Straight back to the band stuff. I've never tried to oversell the bands I'm in. I've never tried to. I've seen it plenty of times where bands have said, "Oh yeah, we can sell hundreds of tickets. We can, I provide you with this amount of show." And and they like and they'll pull out with 2 days' notice or haven't sold double figures of tickets. The Sepultura show is an example for Counterhold. I was asked beforehand how many tickets they thought I could sell. So I'm like, right, the Sepultura, it's going to be a popular show. It had already been announced, so I knew they were playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I oversell us? Do I say, we can sell 80 to 100 tickets? I went, no, I'll say 40. I'll say 40 and I'll see how it goes. Thankfully, that was still enough to get us on the lineup. But being that realistic number, I sold 49 tickets. That it was changed last minute. It was supposed to have been at the Millennium Music Hall in Cardiff, but that shut down very, very quick with very little notice and got moved to Pontypridd Muni. So I know the promoter made like a loss on that show of over £1,000. So
Wow.
but the promoter was still good enough to pay us for the tickets that we had sold, based on the fact that I hadn't bullshitted him. I hadn't turned around and said we can sell over X number of tickets. He appreciated the fact I gave him a number, we stuck to it.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit people. If you can't back up what you say, don't bother saying it.
Don't bother saying it. Like, I mean,
it'll bite you in the ass in the end.
Yeah, there's been some gigs that I was meant to go to in Bristol and it never ended up happening. And there was one gig with one of my favourite black metal bands from the UK, Eastern Front, and they were supposed to play Stag and Hounds.
Yeah.
But the person who was promoting it didn't even show up. This was 2013. I was coming back from a mate's hometown. Well, I don't think it was his hometown. He was going to uni there. Me and my mate, Chris, were coming back from there and we were going to go to that gig, but then obviously Craniation and Somnus were playing
the
Hatchet. So I went there, so it wasn't all bad. So bad that gig didn't happen. But luckily there wasn't that gig going on, so it could still go out.
But in this scene, bullshit gets you nowhere because it will be sniffed out and it will get around. If you're going to screw people, if you're going to even try and screw people over, bad news like that will travel around this scene.
It will travel fast, and your reputation will literally be tarnished forever, basically. No one will want to book a gig with you. No one will want to do a festival with you. Nobody will want to do anything.
Yeah.
So don't be like that. Be a trustworthy promoter. And I know I've done some gigs with not actually done gigs with them. I've gone to gigs where the promoter's been like the most chilled out person. It's like, I'll do another gig with this person. Sweet, awesome.
I've played some shows with some dodgy motherfuckers as well, and it's simply a case of that will be the one and only time they get us to play.
Yeah, well, those are the bad things about being in bands, but there are good things. You do get to record albums, you do get to play big shows, but then you might get some dodgy twat who might fuck it all up. But forget about that and focus on the good things. Keep looking forward. Keep looking forward. And there you go. And wow, this went all political fast.
I've got to say, hey, I mentioned very little on politics itself. I got to say
not
that. Thank you very
as
much.
such, but with like a lot of ranting and raving. But that's all right on Jake's Metal Chat. You can rant and rave.
There's a lot bollocksed up in the world right now, and
we can talk about it, and it's fine.
It's simply the case of I'll do my little bit, posting out like my lyrical content. Yeah. That's where I'm prepared to go with it now.
And there you go.
So I'll put my will to rights in my lyrics.
Yeah, and there you go. And getting back to Democratus.
Yes.
I was going to ask where the name came from, who came up with it, and was there any names you were thinking about having before?
Right. As you mentioned at the start of this, there's different ways that people have pronounced Democratus. Democratus, Democratus, Democratus. No, I'll do it. But Anyway, basically, the whole pronunciation of it came about from the conversation that led to the name being suggested. Um, Early days, first original lineup, and we were sat down during a bit of a break in rehearsal, thinking, right, we all need to decide what we're going to call ourselves. And I turned around and said, well, we all need to agree because we're a democracy, not a dictatorship. And so our one guitarist at the time, one of the only things he actually contributed, did I say that out? Basically turned around and said, what about Democratus? And we all looked at him and just went, So I then looked it up, obviously to make sure that no other bands had taken it.
Oh, you got to be sure of that.
Got to Google it. So I Googled it and found out then that it was the name Democratus was actually the name of a Greek philosopher whose works are quite integral to the way modern politics works today.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's a nice tie-in, but it's an accidental one. So, but the democracy led to Democratus. That's why we pronounce it Democratus. I have been told by a very good Greek friend of mine it should be Democratus because it's like Kratos, the god, and demo. So it should be pronounced Democratus. I call it Democratus.
I've always called it Democratus because you've said it.
As I've said 1,000 times before, it's a potato thing. As long as we're being spoken about, I don't care.
Yeah, and because you said Democratus, and everybody, I've mentioned him so many times on this chat, and it's just been the main name I say the most on these chats, and that's Simon Can.
Yeah.
I mention him all the time, and he says Democratus. I'm like, I know who he's on about, but I always say Democratus, but I don't think it matters as long as they're being talked about.
It doesn't to me. I don't mind. Like I said, I've got my way of saying it. Other people have got their ways of saying it. Somewhere in around that is probably the correct way of saying it. But
well, I say Democratus. I've always said Democratus.
But yeah, that's how the name came to be. And yeah, it kind of tied in with the way that my lyrical content wanted to go anyway. So it all just kind of shaped up nicely.
Yeah, very nice. And also, when you're on stage, you got your own leather
my wrist cuffs.
Wrist cuffs, and yeah, those are awesome because I got ones for my folk metal band, and they fit. And I'm thinking, well, I got to wear these when Avintel, my folk metal band, actually starts playing.
Yeah, big shout out to my buddy Jez in Ancestry Leathercrafts. He's a Welsh boy. He lives up in Newcastle way, and yeah, he designed them. He spends a lot of it. He makes his business creating leather works for a lot of film and TV shows and stuff.
Wow, must be really well then.
I believe he did a lot of the stuff for like that TV show Vikings.
Oh wow, that's a good claim.
So he does a lot of that kind of stuff anyway. That's his living. But Amy, because I had always wanted like a proper pair of personalised wrist cuffs because I did have plain wrist cuffs that I was wearing at the start of Democratus anyway.
Yeah, I remember you wearing those.
But yeah, Amy got me those as a Christmas present, and they are absolutely stunning. I love them.
Yeah, the detail on them is amazing.
The thing is that I'm thankful that the logo that we have is very simple, but it stands out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the Bloodstock thing. The one thing that blew me away with Bloodstock, we did our pre-orders on the T-shirts and sold 50 of them. Nice. Before Bloodstock, and some of those people that we sold T-shirts to were people that I'd never even met before. They certainly hadn't seen us live.
No.
And people still bought those T-shirts. One of my friends, Callum Mawson, lives up again in Newcastle and hadn't seen us prior to the Bloodstock set. Actually got our logo tattooed on his arm. I had a message off him about 2 weeks before Bloodstock saying, "I'm doing something. I'll send you the pictures in about an hour." And I'm like, all right, maybe he's got some artwork drawn up or something like that. then he sends me through this picture of his cling filmed arm and our logo underneath the cling film, and I literally in the house. How I didn't wait to, I almost woke up Amy with a big in-breath of, exactly, just, things like that just blow me away.
Yeah, that's proper dedication. And I'm going to mention another mate of ours. We know a lot of the same people. Nick Saxton.
Yeah.
He's got Ascaris' logo on his arm.
I love the Ascaris boys. The Ascaris, we played with them a couple of times. They're a good bunch.
Yeah, they're lovely people. I've had them on the chat as well. Lovely bunch of people.
But yeah, I'm lucky in the fact that the logo that was designed by our first drummer that we were gigging with, Leo, who was a good friend of mine anyway. His missus is best friends with my wife. Leo designed that Democratus logo for us. We've tweaked it a little bit, make it stand out a little bit more, update it, modernize it a little touch. But the basics have always been there, and I'm very grateful that we've got that logo that stands out. It doesn't look like anyone else's work. I'm more than happy with it. And those are the kind of things that I'd urge other bands to kind of look into when they're getting their stuff going. Don't so much look for a gimmick unless that's what you're looking to go for anyway. But just look for ways that make you stand out.
Like stand out from everyone else.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what you got to do. And well, speaking of bands and logos, what I got, Gojira.
Nice. So I want to build up a sleeve of like my favorite bands and stuff. I mean, I've got. I was going to say you have the Democratus logo there, and I've got Counterhole's logo there. That was for advertising purposes anyway.
Here's my band.
Obviously, yeah, exactly. As I'm singing, there's the advert.
It's like, here's our band, check us out.
Pretty much. But yeah, it's a case of I want to build up a sleeve of like bands that have influenced me.
Yeah, this album's going to be entirely music, and this is going to be more like Celts and Vikings and stuff like that, more of that stuff, really. Maybe the Lord of the Rings inscription on the ring, like the Ron rings are all the more and everything. Somewhere around there, I don't know yet.
Sounds good, man. But I never have the money for proper tattoo work anyway.
Yeah, this was my first gigs. Yeah, this was my first tattoo after the lockdown eased. The first time in July last year, went to Inked Up in town, in the arcade bit. I was like, I'm gonna get this because my mate Chris, who I mentioned earlier, has from Mars to Cirrus, the whale on it, and another mate of ours, Scotty, who we went up to in 2013 in Stratford, I think it's Stratford, thereabouts. He's got the Way of All Flesh.
Yeah.
So I thought, and I was thinking, I want to get more serious. I know you had to get another one. Levon Sauvage.
Do it.
I thought, well, I do love that album, so I'll get Levon Sauvage.
Sounds good. I like the logic.
Yeah, I like the logic. So we just all got to meet up when we can actually meet up. We all got our vaccines and everything. Meet up, get a picture together, done.
Yeah, definitely.
In the order of the albums of the year the albums came out. Not like, Levon Sauvage is up there. No, you got to go down that way, fuck's sake.
Exactly.
So now we just got to find two other people that have Terra Incognita and the Link, and then Magma.
I'm sure it can't be too difficult to find.
Yeah, just find. It's like, do you want to get a picture of us? Yeah. Sent it to Gojira, who I've actually met and had a picture of because I did the meet and greet in Bristol.
Nice.
Lovely guys.
I've met Mario.
He's lovely.
I haven't met the rest of the guys though, but yeah, I briefly met Mario at one of the Cardiff gigs.
Yeah, Mario's cool. I actually got to shake his hand at the end of one show they did in Wolverhampton back in 2012.
Yeah,
which was fantastic. Me and my mate went up because my auntie gave me and my mate a lift up. Spent the night in my mate Scotty's uni flat. We both just slept on the floor in his uni flat and got the train back after breakfast.
Nice.
Because why not? Uh,
But that's the whole thing of gigging with me is that it's all about the experiences. I'm both a band and attending gigs as a punter. It's all about the experiences,
all about the experience.
things you can go back and bore like nieces, nephews, and future grandkids with.
Yeah.
Little stories like, I played Bloodstock once, and while you're in your rocking chair, it's like I opened for Howard Jones once.
Back in my day, I played Bloodstock. Sure you did, Grandad.
Exactly. Get back in your home.
Yeah, Grandad. Sure you did, Grandad. Eat your porridge. So I can't get to me beard.
But it's that kind of thing that I do all of this for. It's for the experiences. The road trip that we did a tour in the back end of 2019. We did a 3-day mini tour with Killanova. Newcastle's Metal to the Masses winners of that year as well. They saw us at Bloodstock and kind of kept tabs on us, and I love them to bits. They're a great band, well worth checking out. And we did a 3-day mini tour with them covering Northampton, Workington in Cumbria, and then Newcastle. So we're talking over 1,000 miles worth of driving in 3 days. It took us 4 hours to get to Northampton, 6 hours to get to Workington, and then two hours to get over to Newcastle from Workington. And the drive from Workington to Newcastle was deadly because it started snowing halfway through. Oh. Zach was just cacking himself in the back of my car, wondering where we were going. But putting in the slog like that, it was hard work. But oh my God, we had so much fun because you just get, you get to know the people that you're in the car with, and you just. Those are the kind of things that I do this for. It's for the experiences. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so I've always said there's no money in heavy metal.
No, yeah, I said that earlier at the start of this. Actually, like there's a bunch of people that work for like in an office or for a brewery or they're a farmer or they work at a garden centre or whatever. Because with death metal in general, doesn't pay the bills. You gotta have a job for that.
Even the top end of bands like Lamb of God and Arch Enemy and kind of Killswitch Engage and that, they're covering their bills. They're not rich people.
No, because you don't do it necessarily for the money. You do it because you love the music. That's how I see it.
If the opportunities come to kind of cover our costs, you're already doing better than 90% of the bands doing the rounds.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're at that point now where if someone wants us to come out and play, we can get our petrol costs covered. Yeah, I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy with that.
If I've got the time to go about these places, and it's not going to cost me, any more than maybe a hotel fare, if it's worth going up for. Happy days. Because like I said, it's all about the experiences for me.
Yeah, because I only did one gig with my band Herbicidal. That was with Doomicidal from Bath. Lovely bunch of guys.
I love those guys. They're lovely great fun.
They were the only support band we had supporting us. And I thought it was us supporting them. No, they're supporting us, and we weren't even that well known.
We played with Doomicidal in Bath. I think it would have been our first gig of 2019. It was our first gig of 2019, but we didn't realise the venue that they had they picked to play, the Vaults in Bath.
I haven't been to that one. I've been to Green Park Tavern. I know that's not open much anymore.
We realised halfway through the night it's Nigel from Onslaught's local, and Nigel was up there having a drink. So I'm like, Nigel. Because I'm lucky enough to know the Onslaught boys as friends anyway.
I know Cy Keeler and his son.
So, I went up to Nigel. He's like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, well, we're playing downstairs. What are you doing here? This is my local. So he came down and watched us. I love the Doomicidal guys because they're a great bunch. They've been good supporters of ours.
Yeah, very good.
Very grateful for
very
that.
Great band. Yeah, they just opened for us. They were like, all right, there were some people watching them, but as soon get back to more Democratus related news and other Democratus stuff and anything else we want to talk about. As soon as Herbicidal started playing, there was a lot of people just in that small room in the Griffin. And I thought, are they here to see the band or are they here to see me? Because I'm a big part of the Bristol gig scene, as you
Yeah.
know. And I think people are like, wait, is that Jake? What's he doing on stage? That was my. Oh, he's in a band. What the fuck? Let's go watch. And I had Patch who played with like Patrol the Storm, and I think he's played with other bands as well. Yeah, more Drake. Now bands are mentioned.
Yeah.
He was the only one at the front. He had his head tied back, headbanging to Recital. It was great. I mean, that was a great experience. It was my first gig in like 9 years at that point. Because the last band I played with was my very first band. We were called Half Past Dead.
I don't think I could ever cope with 9 years not
But
giving.
I've done guest appearances with Black Skies Burn, Acid Shock, Merciless Precision. I actually did. I didn't actually just invite myself when on a Acid Shock show, the Red Lion. Here in
Yeah.
Bristol. I just was like, yeah, I'm just going to be the second vocalist now. So got some gig experience.
It all counts.
It all counts. I always stayed at my mate Hammer's house in Bedminster, so it was always great. He always had parties, and he actually was like, "Do you want to? Oh, let's just get a bunch of bands and play my flat." I didn't think people would mind,
No.
and we did do that, and it was fun. It was all one-man bands that used drum machines anyway. Well, one was a two-piece from Belgium called Discophobia.
Sounds fun.
Grindcore, so yeah, grindcore band, and but yeah, it's all about the experience. Even if you're playing in a band or a punter,
Yeah.
it's all experience because you're seeing all these bands, you're meeting new people, you're chatting to people, you become friends with people. Like how I became mates with you from seeing your first band and then seeing Democratus and just having a chat and giving me a big old hug.
That's it. We definitely became friends over Democratus rather than Counterhold.
Oh no, can't hold because I was just like, cool man, and because he went to Dave Bass, who I have not seen that man in ages. Remember Dave Bass?
God, I take it, yeah.
Yeah, he was in a band.
He used to run shows at the Hatchet and stuff, didn't he?
Shows in the Hatchet. He did some at the Croft. He used to be in a band called A Plague of Deception.
I believe Dave Bass was the one that got Counterhold our one and only gig at the Beer Keller.
Oh, nice.
That was supporting a band called Forever Never.
Forever Never.
Yeah, and we thought it was going to be a bigger gig than it actually turned into. This was with Counterhold. We turned up at the beer, and the Beer Keller held like 800 people, if not more. Forever Never had just played Download.
Oh yeah.
So they opened up they played like a mid-afternoon slot on the third or second stage. This was something like 2009, I think. So
I was at
in mind, there's going to be a buzz around them. They've just played Download, etc., etc. There's buzz about their album, and I knew the vocalist was kind of friends with Benji Webb, because Forever Never did get a little bit of viral attention for a cover they did of Mr. Boombastic.
Oh right.
Yeah. But we turn up at the Beer Keller, and we had brought the most number of people at 10 out of the other two bands that were playing. There were 14 people in the Beer Keller.
14 people. God, I think there was more than that when I saw Destruction there at the Beer Keller. Great thrash metal band from Germany.
I love Destruction.
Fucking great band. Love him. And first death metal band I saw there was Vader. Actually, you mentioned them earlier. That was 2010, and the first black metal band I saw there was Marduk, and they had Anil Nathrak as support.
Nice. Well, so the only time I played the Beer Keller with Democratus was that Suffocation show. Now that was much better, because it wasn't sold out, it wasn't packed, but it was a tidy crowd. And especially that was the first show we played. It was our newest song at that point. Was Bind, Torture, Kill, BTK. It was the first gig we played that, and we were bricking it because I realised like a week before, Suffocation have a song called Bind, Torture, Kill. Because it's lyrically, the song is based around, I'd assume Suffocation are the same. It's based around the Bind, Torture, Kill killer, Dennis Rader.
Yep.
So,
killer, yeah.
But yeah, I realised this a week before thinking, oh shit, are they going to like bollock us for stealing their song titles?
Are we going to get one of them kicking our asses later?
Yeah. So
they're not like that. I've met them. They're nice guys.
I thought, fuck it. If I'm gonna go out, so I introduced the song that night, and it's like I only realised a week ago that we share the same title as a Suffocation song. I apologise for making theirs sound like shit. I'm just like shit. In my head, I'm thinking I've just said that the wrong way round. Ours is supposed to be the shit one. Shit, how big-headed do I sound now? But we kick in, and but I'm spending the rest of the set then thinking, oh shit, they're gonna think we're at a toss pots for that.
One of us is gonna kill us. Someone's gonna kill us.
Thankfully, but they came up to us afterwards and they all enjoyed our set. You know, like having compliments from people like Suffocation saying that they enjoyed our set. Again, it's the experiences. That's what I do it for.
That's brilliant. I've met the Suffocation lot as well. I've met Terence Hobbs and Derek and Guy and Brick, who's in Discord originally. He's the drummer.
Yeah.
He's taken over for Frank because Frank's pretty much done with it.
Frank's retired now.
Yeah, Frank's now
certainly live-wise.
Yeah. Because he couldn't do a lot of like just those sort of shows. He can only do festival appearances because of his job, which is fair enough. You've got to pay the bills. And if he had the time off, he could have done more shows.
It shows you that fine line between bands, you know, like making a living doing what they're doing and not.
Yeah, and meeting because you got to have a job to pay the bills, and then you got to have money to pay for like petrol and the merch, and just getting to one place to another.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the Suffocation guys, meeting them when they were not supporting Niall, on tour with Niall, and they were at Motion. Just chatting to Terence Hobbs was great because he's just such a funny guy.
Yeah.
I got 2 pictures of him that night as well. I was like, one before the set, one after the set, and one of them he's just smiling like, just like that. And I'm like,
well, that Suffocation night was the first time I properly got to get to know the boys in Embodiment.
Harry, Finn.
So, yeah. And the Embodiment boys have been big supporters of ours. I love them to bits.
They are lovely people.
Harry's a sweetheart.
Harry is such a cool guy. I love him.
He's such a softie. He'd hate me for saying that, but bollocks.
Bollocks to it. And Finn's just a really nice guy as well.
Yeah.
They all are.
And their album that dropped last year was absolutely incredible.
Oh, that was so great because my album, because Herbicidal's album came out days before theirs did, and then when theirs came out, I was like, right, I'm going to share this around, share it.
Yeah.
Then I heard it, and I was just like,
just a superb slab of tech death.
Fucking hell.
Superb bit of tech.
Because they played some of the songs live before the album was even out.
Yeah.
Like Tyrant and all that,
The thing is, with the way it's working with Democratus, 5 of the songs that we've got on our, because that's what we're currently up to. I don't know whether you were going to cover that in any of your questions, but
with Democratus, like you got new songs out, and you probably played them before you released your EP.
That's it. We're currently working on writing for the album now. We're about 9 songs into the album. We want to get up to about 15 before whittling them down to 10, maybe 12 songs. But 5 of the songs already are in our set list.
Yeah,
So because we're not signed with, that's where our testing ground is still on the live circuit. So when we're writing
definitely.
songs, because we want to mix things around anyway, if we think it's good enough, we'll chuck it in the set. So
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
Creator of Poverty, The Unworthy,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and um,
It'll come to you.
they will.
Yeah,
um,
I'll ask it in a minute.
Divided They Fall.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Two of the others that names escape me without them in front of me on a freaking set list.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I need to do that if I'm doing videos like this, like if I'm gonna do a CD video, I'm gonna need notes to remember what when this band formed, what album came out before the one I'm gonna show, and everything else. Because my memory is utter crap.
but yeah, like Damnation before it, the songs were all in the set list. The the EPs were more a kind of mark of this is what we're doing now.
Yep.
The album, like I said, five of the songs we kind of do already play live. The other stuff, it will probably make its way into the set list
Yep.
once we've got the album done. But at the moment, we're at a point where we can't gig it to find out what other people think of it
No,
anyway. So,
that's the issue. Can't
but
play
yeah,
it.
we're at the writing stage. Hopefully, we can get something done and recorded by the end of this year.
Oh, that'd be great.
Hopefully, then we can start kind of touring that heavy by the start of next year going
Uh,
onwards.
oh yeah, definitely because I want to hear it. And is there a reason why you didn't do an album beforehand?
Um, Well, obviously, the Starting Again EP was just the line in the sand on what we had done under previous lineups. So that was our kind of, right, that's our older material. From here on in, this is what we're working with the lineups, with the lineup that we have. So Damnation again was that kind of. It was always going to be an EP,
Yep.
but again, it marked a line in the sand because Kevin then decided to step back from Democratus, and we
Oh,
got
fair enough.
Rich in. Um, Kevin was in the process of doing all the mixing and mastering for that second EP, but as he stood back, we then decided that we'd get because he hadn't given the time that he probably should have to the EP. It
Mm.
wasn't quite sounding to the standard that we were hoping it was going to be at. So we thought, right, Kevin, would you mind if we passed it on to a friend of ours, Mike, of a band? Oh bugger, I'm gonna miss his band now. Something else. I can't think off the top of my head now, but
Like
basically
that.
another friend of Joey's, Michael Buffrey, his name is, and I'm just going to bring up the band that I know he's in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
King Ibex.
Okay.
They were a hard rock band. They opened for us at the gig that we did with Wretched Soul
All right.
at the Griffin last year
Oh yeah, yeah.
when gigs were still a thing.
When gigs was still a thing, remember those days, people?
So yeah, we passed on those recordings to Michael, who then mixed and mastered them as best he could. So Damnation we got out, but yeah, again, Damnation has now become another line in the sand of this is where we were. What we've got now and what we're working on with the album is where we're going.
Awesome. Well, I was always wondering, well, we've got two EPs out. When's this all important debut going to be released?
It's simply a case of how long's a piece of string. We're at the demo stage at the moment, so thankfully we've got Rich and Zach, who are have. Zach is a qualified sound engineer.
Oh, that's good to have.
Rich knows what he's doing. I don't think he's qualified, but actually no, I think he is qualified. Rich as well has his own set studio stuff in his house.
Awesome.
So between them, they've been chucking ideas over for me to like put lyrical content to and stuff. So we're at the demo stage. A few of the demos are done. They're just waiting for my vocals to go over the top. But we want to get all the demos done so we can then start passing that round to potential labels. because whilst we've DIY'd everything up to this point,
Yep.
and you know, including running our own merch line and stuff like that, we've done it all ourselves. If we can get a label to help us distribute the album further and to more people than we could on our own, brilliant. If not, we'll DIY it again. You know, people know they can trust us. We've done the pre-order things before directly, so people are paying direct to the band, knowing that they will get either merch or whatever they've ordered, or the EPs and that. So they know they can trust us. But if we can get a label, which we're aiming to do then when we start sending the demos around, whilst we then get the recordings properly done, in the meantime, and see what happens from there. But again, it's how long is a piece of string. With the pandemic as it is, it's not like we can meet up and exchange ideas and jam it all out together.
It's been because you've got to keep apart 2 meters.
Which there's a rehearsal room in Newport that has that ability. We were able to rehearse for a couple of times between August and October before it all went back on lockdown. But it's a case of we're doing what we can when we can, but how long's a piece of string right now? We haven't got the ability or the budget to kind of go isolate in a studio off somewhere.
No,
so it's a case of we're working within our restrictions.
Well, that's what you can do, really. But what you're saying is there is an album coming, but it will be out when it's out.
We're aiming for the end of 2021, possibly mid of 2022, if
whenever it comes
we get things going. If we get things going again.
When it happens, like everyone gets all the vaccines and everything,
maybe,
just maybe, you can all meet up in the studio, get this album done, get it released, and then people can enjoy your amazing music.
Thank you very much. So I hope people think it's amazing. Like
I think it's amazing. I've seen you guys live enough bloody times to know it is.
But it brings me back to the point. I take nothing for granted.
No.
I don't expect people to like what we do. If they do, great.
If they don't,
thanks for checking us out anyway.
Thanks for checking us out. You didn't like
seriously,
it,
the Bloodstock video, because we took the option of recording our Bloodstock set, and there's the usual trolls because Bloodstock ended up putting it up themselves. So we were sent over the video. We were going to edit it a little bit, work a bit on sound.
They did that with Embodiment,
but Bloodstock stuck it up themselves anyway. So it's fine. It's got 6,000 views. But there's people that go commenting on there, and there's a couple of little trolls on there. But I'm the one that's the thing is, I don't ignore them. I'll acknowledge them. I'll thank them for taking the time to add another listen to another view on our video. Because at the end of the day, I don't expect everyone to like us. I know full well there are people that think we're crap.
You're going to get those fans, but me personally, I love the band.
And for that, then I'm super grateful. Like I said, I will concentrate on those that want to hear more from us. And those that don't, thank you for your time.
Yeah, definitely.
Just go find someone else to troll. Because you aren't going to stop us doing what we're doing.
No, it's not going to stop you. It's just, I acknowledge you, but carry on.
Exactly.
Just carry on that. And now I want to get on to the radio stuff.
Okie dokie. I've got to be honest, I haven't got too much more time. I'm keeping aware because my next volunteer in the studio will be in soonish.
All right, so we'll get through that because you've had so many different guests on there. Like you've had, I was going to say, I think you had I'm trying to remember his name from My Dying Bride. I'm crap with names, but yeah, My Dying Bride. Andrew is his name, Andy.
Andy.
Yeah, because I listened to a bit. I was like, how does he get all these people?
It's literally.
People say the same with me. How do you get all these people?
For the first half of when I started the lockdown sessions, I literally, like yourself, I went through my friends list.
Yeah.
And I am fortunate enough to know a few people in a few bigger bands like Flesh God. I knew Veronica as a friend. Benji from Skindred, I know the Skindred guys pretty well. So I'd had Benji in, and the previous year he was my first ever interview. I brought him into the studio for the Cumbran show that they were playing in 2019. They played Cumbran Stadium. But yeah, as far as it goes, it was literally luck of the draw. One of my friends that I know on the scene, he runs the Leicester's Metal to the Masses. Simon Yarwood, his name is, and he literally messaged me saying, "Would you like the contact for Nuclear Blast?" I'm like, "Oh yes, I would. Thank you."
Yeah, Nuclear Blast on there.
So I was passed the email, and I literally just sent them an email saying, "Hi, I run a little online radio station. I'm looking to set up interviews, and I'd also be interested in getting any new tracks that you have. Anything you can send me over would be great." Since then, I've Nuclear Blast have been one of the best ones. Actually, I get sent stuff over from them weekly, and they usually come up with like, this band are doing having interview slots. Message us back to book one in. So it's as simple as that. Then once you're in that circle, that's how you get it. Same with Metal Blade, who also do the same PR guy does Napalm Records.
Yep.
And I've also then got a couple of the smaller ones, smaller PRs as well. Yeah, I mix it up and kind of I try and keep it not just like the bigger bands. As like I said, I've had yourself on the show.
Yeah, you've had Embodiment.
I've had most of the Bristol lot. I've had most of the South Wales lot, from like Sodomize through to Agrona, through
Agrona, great, both great bands.
Through to Incursion. So I try and mix it up with like all the bands I can basically get hold of. If they can spare me 15, 20 minutes, half hour, then great.
Yeah, definitely. I need to get the Incursion and Agrona lot and even the Sodomized lot on here at some point.
Definitely
Depends on their availability.
But I'm like I said, this is what's kept me going is the radio station stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if I didn't have the interviews, just having that every Tuesday where I'm blasting out 2 hours of whatever music I can get my hands on over the week, it keeps me happy.
Yeah, this has kept me going since May last year because Cam of the Growl, he was the only Canadian I've had on here so far. I've had a lot of people from America, here in the UK, I've had Finland, and I need to get more people. He's the one who gave me the idea to do it, so
yeah,
more Facebook based, like HDMI my TV into my laptop to the TV and do it that way because that's how he does it.
Yeah, Skype has become my best friend. It's simply a case of I'll do whatever it takes. If it means I have to bring the mobile, I did that with the Michael Schenker interview. Had to bring. I've got his number on my mobile. So it's literally a case of however I need to contact them. Thankfully, I'm in a studio with microphones and that can pick up loudspeakers and stuff like that. So, and I've got my own little home setup as well with a USB microphone, so that if I can't make it into the studio, say it runs at a time when there's volunteers or I'm close to being in work.
Yeah, just do it from home, easy.
Exactly. So yeah, this place has really kind of given me a buzz.
That's awesome. And before we end this chat, because you need to go and chat to your next volunteer, for Democratus merch.
Yes.
Where would people find it? I know where to find it, but if people want to know where to find it, I'm going to link it in down below anyway. But
Well,
usual places, Bandcamp.
Yeah, for the digital copies of the EPs, there's Bandcamp, so democratus.bandcamp.com. I really should start putting like our t-shirts and merch up on there as well.
Oh yeah, one by t-shirt.
Because I need to get rid of it. We need to empty our supplies of the Damnation t-shirts and stuff before we move on to album thoughts. But yeah, other than that, anything that you do want, like t-shirts and a few other little bits of merch and stuff we've got, just get in touch with us through our Facebook, which is facebook.com/Democratus Band. We're on the usual places like Spotify for streaming and Amazon and iTunes and all that jazz. So
there you go. Yeah, you want to find their
music. We're easy
enough
to find.
Yeah, easy enough to find. And if you like that band, awesome. If you don't like that band, then not the end of the world.
Thanks for taking the time to at least decide you think we're shit.
Yeah, take the time to think they're shit first before you say, oh, shit. It's like, but if someone says, oh, they're shit, why do you think they're shit? Because they're shit. That's not a good enough reason.
But you know what? If that's the reason they're going to give, so be it.
So be it, whatever.
I genuinely got better things to...
I got better things to worry about. I was like, oh, crap, I've got to pay a bill on car or something.
I'm living close enough to the poverty line not to worry about whether someone likes my music or not.
Yeah, there you go. And also... You also started learning how to play guitar, just to end it on now.
I did.
How's that going?
It's coming along. I'm never going to be a widdly diddly fretboard.
I'm not. I'm more rhythm section.
I'm barely going to make it as a rhythm player if I wanted to. But I have, again, it's another thing that's kept me going through lockdown. I'm enjoying playing what I can.
Yeah, I was like, he's playing guitar. I saw him do a karaoke version of The End of Heartache at Bloodstock. Now he's doing this.
Do you know what? It's something that I've just always wanted to do for ages because I have these ideas for music running through my head. I have symphonies running through my head that I want to play. But then throwing it over to the boys, I'm literally reduced to humming a line. Damnation still came from playing this little keyboard app on my phone to show the boys literally the
yeah.
That was done on a keyboard app that I showed the boys. So that was Damnation written. But yeah, it's a case of if I can just get a couple of ideas down on rhythm that I can chuck over to the boys to then make sound decent. Great.
Yeah, great. There you go. And having a guitar would help, like, oh, this might sound good.
And you know what? Like I said, it's been fun to learn anyway. For the most part, because I'm lucky that I've always been involved in music, so I know how things should sound from playing by ear and knowing what chords are what. Most of it has just been building up muscle memory, to be fair.
Yeah.
So just knowing where to place my stubby short fingers that won't reach over a fourth fucking fret.
Yeah, I've been trying to stretch this one into like if this is on the first note, I try to stretch it to the fourth note.
That's as much as I can stretch. It's shite.
I mean, I've been playing guitar since I was 13, so I've had a lot of practice.
And look at the size of my fingers. They are short. They are stubby. I can barely get them over the fretboard. But
oh well. You're still learning. You're still learning.
Exactly.
You'll get there. Well, thank you very much for being my 23rd guest of Jake's Metal Chat.
No problem, my brother. It's been a pleasure, mate.
And you're always welcome. And all the other guests that I've had, you're always welcome to come back. We're going to have a big group of us discussing metal today, or we can discuss our favourite cheese. I don't know.
Sounds good, man. I'm a cheddar man myself.
Cheddar man. No, I do love me cheddar. I love me parmesan as well. People are thinking, this is supposed to be a metal show. It's my show. I can do what I want.
Look, cheese is metal.
Cheese is metal. And it's like, what? So, what's this next song called? It's called Red Leicester. Great cheese. Thank you very much. I'm getting a bit... This is great. I love it. Thank you very much for coming on, and you're welcome again at any time.
Pleasure, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I will, mate. And I'm also doing a podcast, so I've already got some bands lined up to do a podcast to play their music. And there you go.
Keep us informed, man. I'll see you soon.
See you soon, mate. That was Steve. I was checking if I was still recording. That was Steve. I haven't done this in a while. Just check the camera. Yeah, that was Steve. Had a bit of ranting and raving. It's okay on Jake's Metal Chat. Again, I have said this to people in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy what I do, I mean, it helps my channel a lot. It helps me a lot. It keeps my confidence up. It keeps my brain active. It keeps me pretty much from not going completely insane being at home. And again, with the podcast, got bands confirmed. There's still a few more, and obviously there's going to be some members of bands that don't want to do the whole vid chat thing, and you can just do it on the podcast version. And I got one on Monday with one of the members of the band that Mike from The Drowning spoke about. We spoke about My Silent Wake. It's the main frontman for that band. He'll be on, and I'm going to discuss that band in a little bit more further detail from his point of it, because I think he was in the band from the very beginning. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm going to stop here because I need to get some more things ready, and because I'm meeting up with some people here on Zoom again. And hope you enjoyed the video. There'll be more on the way. Keep more updated on the podcast, and get some people in there that have appeared on here or haven't appeared on here. It's not going to be like long chats like this. It could be like 5, 10, 15, even 20 minutes. So take care of yourselves. Keep supporting metal. And just be sure to look after each other and those around you. Take care.